want to talk to you about leadership. I'm fascinated by leadership in every field, not just business, military, sports. Leadership is a fascinating thing, not on so many levels. And personally, I don't believe in charisma. I think that a leader is comprised of many qualities. I don't know if you can say that nothing can be learned, and it's all because you have to learn and you can develop leadership skills, leadership behaviors. And I think that even if you're not a natural born leader, and it's a whole new argument if there's even such a thing as being a natural born something, because many people will tell you that doesn't exist. You're born a tabula rasa and then you learn stuff. But I don't want to get into that argument. I do agree that some people are more inclined to lead than others, okay? Just by their personality. Because unlike what we sometimes think, and I have trainings on leadership, and I've studied the subject, and it's not just we sometimes have a vision in our head of a leader, but really it's about, I think someone like Gary Vaynerchuk said it in a very, very eloquent way. As a CEO, as a manager of a company, he says that he's working for his employees, not vice versa, which means that his job is to fulfill their dreams, to understand where they're going, to have meetings with them actually with his management group, and then with a bigger sphere, and understand what they are aspiring to do, what is their vision, personal vision, and see how within his company they can accomplish that vision. And that is a great focus on the right way, what we call the inverted pyramid of leadership. It's not everyone working for the leader. It's the leader creating an environment that works for everyone, get them engaged, seeing goals together, making them feel part of a whole. And I've seen it for the good, and I've seen it for the bad. And the funny thing is that sometimes the way that you are brought up or the way that you see the world is so ingrained that you can be reading all the right books and being influenced theoretically by all the right people and implementing absolutely nothing. And of course, a great leader, or an even average leader, is challenged and is measured in times of crisis, in times of adversity, in times of challenge. And one of the greatest aspects, and if you can take this from this video, one of the greatest aspects of a true leader, and you don't have to be charismatic, and you don't have to go to 12 different trainings on leadership. If you only do this: assume responsibility, share credit. Again, assume responsibility, share credit. I'll start with the second half. When I do one of my leadership trainings, I show videos of Michael Schumacher, the famous race car driver. Now, Michael Schumacher, unbelievable, probably the best race driver in the history, in my opinion at least. I'm not such a great, I don't have such a great understanding of racing, but for me, I used to watch him when he was driving for Benetton, and then he was driving for Ferrari, and the competitive spirit, the abilities, I think is the best. And if you Google right now, Michael Schumacher press conference, it doesn't matter which one you come across, every single time after a race, if you interview Michael Schumacher, if you watch his press conferences, he does one thing: he shares the credit. He always talks about the team. He never talks about himself. And I remember one specific press conference, because that's the one I'm showing in my trainings, where he says, listen, I didn't have a good race today. Everything was difficult for me, but the team effort was so great, and that's why we won. Now listen, in racing there's one guy in the car, okay? But if that one guy in the car who's making millions of dollars is sharing the credit all the time with his team, he's taking responsibility for things that are not working well, and he's putting all the focus on the team, that's a true leader. That's someone that people will walk through fire for. And his pit crew, the anonymous people who would change his tires and refuel his car and had to work like clockwork to save valuable seconds every pit stop. These people would walk through fire for Michael Schumacher because he was a true leader, because he always assumed responsibility and shared credit. When something goes wrong, leaders step up. They look at themselves. They say, hey, if something goes wrong and my team is involved in something going wrong, it's something I did. I didn't train them well enough. I didn't support them well enough. I didn't lead them well enough. I need to look in the mirror. What a bad leader does is point a finger at his management team, at his staff, and blame them for his shortcomings. And that just creates animosity, and it doesn't create motivation, and it doesn't create progress. It doesn't matter what you think in your own head as a leader. It doesn't matter if you think that you are the smartest person in every room and everyone else should just learn from you and adore and admire you. When you work with people, okay, and you are the number one, being a number one is a huge responsibility. When you're the number one, you need to be big enough to take responsibility on yourself, shield your team like an umbrella, and allow them to grow, allow them to feel protected, to feel safe, and therefore to be at their best functioning behavior. And when things go well, share credit, but share credit from a real, point of view. Don't just utter the words, paying lip service. My team is great. Share the credit of the success and let people see in your eyes that you mean it. Let people believe that you are so proud of the team that you created, because their success is your success. And the funny thing is that your team that you lead is comprised of numbers 2s to number 10s, right? They don't threaten you. No one threatens number one. Number one owns the place. So you are big enough to share credit, or are you? That's the big challenge of being a leader. Remember 2 things: assume responsibility, share credit, be authentic about it, and you're on the path to great leadership.